behind the walls. 7 critical electrical decisions that will impact your home forever. What you see here right behind me, what might look like chaos to you, but these wires and their placement and location will determine how you'll experience your home for many decades to come. I'm Mo from Marvel Homes, and in today's video, we are at the rough-in stage. This is the stage where all the electrical wiring has taken place, the mechanical unit, but in this video, we'll be focusing on the electrical scope and what you need to know and what most homeowners overlook when they are working on their electrical plans. First, before we dive into that, you might ask, why do I really want to care about this rough-in stage? There's 3 main reasons. 1, once these walls are closed off, it is exponentially expensive to make any changes. So make sure you get to walk through your home with whomever you're going to be building with. Number 2, the way these cables or the switches or the power points or the data points, wherever they're going to be positioned, they are going to determine how you use that space and if it's going to impact on your convenience or the type of furniture that you're going to be purchasing. Third one, we're technically future-proofing your investment by being thoroughly informed and well ahead of the process before it gets built. And even during the build, you're future-proofed your investment, your home, and ready to go into the perfect home for your family. Decision number 1, strategic placement of power points and switches. So this comes back to how you are going to be furnishing the place, where things are going to go in the new home, and how would you naturally be where you would be putting your devices to charge them. So this is more the positioning, the heights, and if you have any special furniture that you're going to be purchasing or placing into the home, and having that question in place allows you to go through each space and identify what you're going to get. So for example, I've got this wall right here behind me. We have a TV unit that's going directly onto the wall. And what that means, the TV unit is going to be mounted onto the wall. What that means is that we need to provide a recessed box. That recessed box will have a power point as well as a data cable and a TV cable. It's just items like these so that you don't have any cables dangling down and you're not dealing with extension cords and the like. That's the same thing goes with island. So a kitchen island in this home, we have a USB charger as well as our power point. So it could be used for a kitchen appliance or a guest that comes through and you need to charge a phone or an iPad directly. Decision number 2, circuit planning demand. This basically goes to more technical, but the idea is if you live in an old home and if you have anything that trips your power circuit on the outside. So the idea here is to really find out how you're going to be using your kitchen. Now, I'm not talking about the fridge being on a separate circuit breaker or the appliances. We do that automatically here with us at Marvel Homes, but I'm more talking about the specific GPOs, the specific power points into the walls, and what are you going to be connecting to them. So for example, there's an option of 4 gang plate. That means you can connect 4 kitchen appliances. Now, if you're going to connect a kettle or a toaster, some of these elements, or a fry pan, some of these elements do require a lot of power and it could lead to a trippage, because the way it works is you have one circuit breaker and an X amount of power points and an X amount of downlights that connect to the one circuit breaker. What we want to do here is ask the question, are we going to be using extraordinary appliances? What are we going to be using in that place? Just by you having that thought process, it allows you to eliminate and identify if there are going to be any issues in terms of requiring more power demand from certain areas. The idea is then you put an extra circuit breaker to allow for that. Decision 3, intuitive switch positioning. This is about, so in a switch gang, you have an option of 1 and you can go all the way up to depending on various brands or what you're trying to integrate in them, you can go all the way up to 6 switches onto the one plate. So the trick becomes here, if you go to 6, you got to remember which switch switches which item. So that could be a bit frustrating. Yeah, you can name them, we don't really do it, but the idea is intuitively placing switches to that area you want to control. So in this project, for example, we've allowed 3 switches per plate as a maximum rule, and that allowed them to spread multiple plates for each area that they want to control. And for example, in the master bedroom here, we've allowed a switch point at the entry door to light up the room and as well as control the fan, but we've also allowed for a switch point by the bed head. So the idea is you can control all the lights as well as the fan from your bed right next to you without going all the way to the front door, which brings me back into 2-way switches and 3-way switches. That's basically saying from which location you want to control the same item. So with decision number 3 is about intuitive, how you're going to use this space, which it really links to the strategic one, which is at decision number 1, because once you're thinking about furniture placement, this will naturally also flow. And it's the same thing with appliances. So they're all kind of connected, but it's good that we're spreading them because it gives you a checklist to go through with whomever you're working with. Decision number 4, precise lighting requirements. What I mean by that is not to your standard downlights or lighting a room or an ambient field where you got wall lights or critical or task lighting. This is more if, for example, you're going to have paintings hanging onto the walls. Are you requiring to put special lighting gimbals? Where are they going to be positioned and which wall they are lighting and what is the spec of the light? The other one is chandelier lighting. This is very important in terms of their positioning. So what we've done, for example, I'll show you on this project, which was, none of it is a mistake, but it's fine tuning what we really want or the final outcome the client is really desiring. Because sometimes when you're working just on a set of plans, like what you see here is a set of electrical plans, it's off the floor plans of this house. It does get a bit scary and intimidating. We do build this together by going to Clipsal consultants, and we do work with consultants. Matter of fact, when it comes to electrical consultants, it breaks into 3 tiers. One is you could just get a builder to do it for you. The second one is you go to any retailer, well, not any, but some retailers will have an in-store electrical consultant. You got the third one, which is what we use, is through Clipsal. It's more detailed, more infrastructure related, not just about lighting position. And the fourth one is architectural lighting. As we go to Clipsal, it's quite detailed. So this plan gets built together with all the information on it to bring it back to my point of precision lighting. What we want to be able to do, for example, in this master bedroom, we did the positioning of the lights, how high off the wall and how high off the wall, off the floor going to be the light by the wall, because there's going to be lights against the wall, as you can see from these images. And the idea is we want to be able to put measurements on the plans so that we are getting it as precise as possible. So remember, all these electrical plans are a guide. When they then become or require precision positioning of lighting, that's the level of information we need to ask. Does this light need to really be positioned in that point? What is the purpose of that light? And what kind of information do we need to put on the plans so that when it transfers hands, the same information gets transferred all the way to every single team. So precision lighting, it's basically paintings, bedrooms, lights, anything on the outside, as well as if you're putting them into joineries, into vanities, inside the drawers, because then your external supply power point needs to be dropped down. With that going too technical, what you really need to ask the question is that, do we have any lighting or power points that require specific measurements? There's going to be a corner light, just above the bathtub, that light needs to drop at a certain level. But what we also need to check, does that light need to comply? Is it compliant to be used in wet areas? Decision number 5, entertainment systems. So this is the fun stuff. Again, with this process or approach is things about, are we putting a media room? What are we putting in that media room? Are we requiring TVs to be off the wall? The other one is speaker wiring. If you are requiring to put any speakers, we do not install the speakers. You could install any of them. All we need to plan is where the entertainment system going to be and where are the speakers outlets going to be, and mark them onto the plans accordingly to ensure that all your future requirements are met and you're not requiring to carry out any infrastructure work on your home. So pre-wiring is really important for any sound system requirements. And if you're putting any TVs onto the walls, you need to make sure we capture that detail so that you've done your cable management system. Number 6, external points. So external points are anything to do with power, security, lighting, barbecue, swimming pool, landscaping. So the idea that we've given you all the infrastructure, that could be a provisional point, meaning that we just run the conduits and the cable and we finish it in a plastic terminated at a point like this image, or it can be finished into a full proper power point or a light point, depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve. So it's really important to have your landscaping done as well and everything else that need to go with it, because you want to make sure that the provisions are done by the builder at construction stage, so it's not an afterthought planning or thinking about it. Number 7, which is about future-proofing. So you might not need an item today or even when you move in, but about the future-proofing of, for example, you might not have an electrical vehicle today, you might be buying in the next couple of years. And the idea is, can we put the provisions now for you? And that's what we do for most of our clients. Can you put the provisions now so that when you do get that electric vehicle, you do not need to worry about infrastructure, scope of work to connect it nicely and neatly within your brand new home. So future-proofing for your EV, for your solar panels, for your pool, barbecue, external additional points, or even landscaping, because they might not be all installed even when you move into the house and live in it for a couple of years, but down the track you might want to carry out that scope. It's a lot cheaper to have that provision now during the construction rather than later on to deal with. And that's where the Marvel Home Different comes in. So these 7 critical decisions that we've just discussed are basically baked through our detailed process, where those detailed electrical plans that I showed you, which might look a bit intimidating, but the idea is we are going through this process with a bit more extensive checklists than what I've just mentioned in this video. And the idea is to ensure that we extract all the information, as much data, and if there is an oversight, we also try and capture it through the site walkthrough to ensure that your forever family home is built correctly from the first go. Hopefully that video was beneficial, and we'll see you on the next one.